Hey everybody, it's time to roll the wind. Thought I'd talk to you a little bit about our Biloxi experience over the last weekend. Got home and I was a little tired and needed to recoup. This old man didn't get a lot of sleep, didn't seem like. I was never in my room by 11 and sometimes after 12. And my internal clock was kept waking me up at 5:30 every morning. So, I've been doing a lot of resting. Y'all saw a little video I did last night on a die set with a little strategy that I picked up just watching. But I got in there on Thursday. Got in there Thursday afternoon. I'm driving down the road, got onto 110, two casinos on my left, Scarlet Pearl and the IP. For some reason I said, well, I'll just pull off and go check out the Scarlet Pearl, stretch my legs, it's too early to check in. Mistake number one. But I gave in to the temptation, went in, bought in on the table. I couldn't get anything going, left real quick, down a couple hundred. Thought I'd try that magic slot machine that I hit the last time I was there. Somebody was on it. So I booked on down the road, got into Harrah's, checked in. Room was mediocre. Kind of typical beach summer room. It was clean, but it just didn't feel clean. Nonetheless, I like their tables. I always enjoy my trip there, but I was a little disappointed in the room, and I was thankful that I also had a room booked a couple nights later, or Friday night through Tuesday, at the Beau Rivage, so I could move. So anyway, I get in and I texted our internet YouTube friend BirdDog301. He was in that area and he said he wouldn't be in until Friday. So, no big deal. I didn't really need to play a lot anyway, but I was going to play some. So I go down to the Crapless table, which was the only thing that was open, and I bought in for $500. And at that time on the Crapless table, I was still working that strategy of the come out horn bets. There was very few on the table, but very few shooters on the table. But I went ahead and did my little $15 horn bets. Started out with my 6-4, 5-6 set, come out set. First throw was an ace deuce. Alright, that gets you paid. Gets you paid, it keeps you covered with $15 covering all three of the numbers. I took another nickel from the pay, moved it to a horn, threw an 11. And that's even better because I'm already well, it's the same payout basically as the ace deuce, but now I'm 2 in and I press it on up to a quarter, hit the 12. So 3 throws. Now I'm on a Crapless, so the point's 3. I've hit an 11, I've hit a 12. I bump it again. Point became like an 8, 6 or 8. But that was a nice little run. I ended up doing that a couple times in the trip, but I'll explain that again in a minute because I did a little different play on it. So I bought in for $600, I believe it was. And I cashed out that night, 1800. So I was feeling pretty good. I had gotten my money back and was up. So then Friday morning, get a hold of Bird Dog, and we were kind of arrange a time. He was going to text me where I was at. I was at the Hard Rock. I was playing with Howard Rock and Roller and another friend of mine from Tunica. And we were having okay tosses. I readily admit it, I am not as good on a traditional felt table as I need to be. I don't ever throw on them, hardly ever, except there's a few tables in Biloxi that have them, and it generally give me fits a little bit. I wasn't having too good a toss going in there, and we moved back to Harris, and I'm got to go up to the Beau Rivage, pick up my car, then drive down to Harris. I get into Harris and I've got my card, reaching in my pocket for my money, and Howard is standing straight out, and he's got the dice. I'm standing there like this, just holding my money, holding my card, just watching, and I have watched 6 11s in one hand, and I still haven't been able to buy in. So that was a little bit of a letdown that I couldn't get in there. We got in there though, but neither he, Bird Dog, or myself could really get a decent hand going before we could really make a lot of numbers. Somewhere in there that day or the previous day, I had thrown a tall. Might have been the tall that day. I hit the 11 and the 12 and the ace deuce on the come out. I was hitting one sides fairly regular, but I also was having a lot of come out sevens after hitting a point, and I'd be pretty deep into my pitch count and hit a come out 7 and erase that all tall small, so it was a little bit aggravating. But typically I was getting one side or the other every few hands, it seemed like. Dice were flying well, they were landing well at Harris. I was getting really redialed back in because I was there just 2 or 3 weeks prior. Had a good time, enjoyed meeting Bird Dog. He's a fine man, and he was throwing a chopper toss, which I don't even attempt. So it was interesting to watch those fly in the air a little bit. But he had to go. They had to get back to New Orleans, get in preparation to return the car and get ready to fly back home. So I'm assuming, hadn't heard from him, but I'm hoping they all got home well and everything's well with them. But it was a great pleasure to meet Bird Dog, play some craps with him, promote the Craps Nation a little bit. It was quite enjoyable. Then Friday evening, we had a meet and greet with Howard and Heavy and the other coaches, all the students that were there for the Back to Biloxi weekend with Howard and Heavy. And it was brutal hot. It was brutal hot down there with the humidity. Being from the South, when I tell you it's hot and humid, it's hot and humid. So, didn't really eat because I'd already ate a late lunch. had a couple of adult beverages trying to cool off, and that wasn't working. And I said, I'm going to go back up to my room and shower. And I'm going to go ahead and move to the Beau Rivage, which was a pretty good call, other than after I got moved, I was like, I don't know why I took a shower before I did all this, because I was dripping wet with sweat again. At that time, we're meeting up. Got Darth Nader, Nate Fernandez, 22 Inside, Mark Evangelisto. We're meeting up. Mark had just flown in, came in for the meet and greet. We went and played a little bit at the Beau Rivage, and I knew we walked in and it was really crowded. And quite frankly, I was okay with just walking, maybe hunting somewhere else. But one of the pit bosses said, we're going to open up this table, y'all can have it. And I knew when I saw it, it was the worst table in the house. Again, it was a tradition. It's the old table on the other side from the main aisle. It's the last table they always open. Doesn't get enough play. Traditional felt top. And brand new sharp edge dice. So if you're not on, that's not a good combination. So I think we all colored up just a little bit down. Let that table alone pretty quick. It didn't take us long to decide that we're better off waiting for better circumstances. Got up Saturday morning. Thought I'd do a real quick coffee run downstairs at the Beau. Bought in. It was a $15 table that early on Saturday morning, and $500-600 buy-in, cashed out just over $1,000. So I felt good. Then we're off to class. Met down there. I was honored that Heavy had asked me to be an assistant. I don't know if you want to say assistant coach, assistant observer, I don't know. But I got to work with 6 different people as we moved through 3 different tables with each coach. And that gave some continuity to the group, and I could keep working with them on what we were working. So it was quite an honor for me, for Heavy to ask me to assist. And I was happy to do it. We had, I think it was 19 enrolled for Saturday, plus coaches, and we had a big crowd in there. And it was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work too. Met Robert, Craps for Life. He was in our class. Had a good time with him. Got to know him better. Great fellow. I'd shoot dice with him any day of the week, anytime. Really enjoyed it a lot. Really did enjoy it a lot. And Saturday night, we're back to the Beau, and Nate and I were on the table by ourselves for just a few minutes, and then a few more people bought in. And he and I both had good runs. We both had really good runs. I'm a little more aggressive. Imagine that. I'm a little more aggressive than he was. And I know he colored up with 800 and I colored up with a little over 1,200. So I think we both probably doubled our buy-in, basically. It's pretty nice. We both had pretty good little rolls. Pretty good little rolls. We went on down later that night to the Palace. And the Palace had $10 tables. Palace had $10 tables with traditional old school felt on 12-foot table. Nobody on there. We buy in as a pretty good little group. And it took me quite a little while to figure it out. So I would be betting usually a $15 pass line, because I always had at least 555 up top. And I was to the point to where I was doing a couple of come bets before we even started. Of course, I'd always try to do either the come out with the 6-4-5-6 or the 3-6-1-2. I had success with both of those sets on the come out rolls, trying to hit horn numbers. It was about that point in time I switched over to world bets with a dollar ace deuce. So $10 or $15 table, $10 or $15 on the world, with an extra dollar on the ace deuce. Somewhere in there on a third hit, I got 400 and some odd dollars. I remember that. But what I found was that I had to hit the table about, I had been trying to figure it out, trying to get them to hit about 6 to 8 inches out and try to tumble them in. I just wasn't getting results. And I finally said, you know what, I'm just going to crash the wall. So I'm going to go in about 1 to 2 inches from the wall. Drop them in there hard, a lot of spin right there, and let them sit. And they were sitting. Had a 40-something roll. Nate had a 40-something roll. So we had a lot of good hands going, but we also had a lot of bad hands intermixed in. So it was a squeaker to getting out of there even or close to even for me. And it had been a long day. So we went back to the bow and we sat there in the lounge and talked, chatted, laughed with some other guys that were in the class and this and that, and had a few adult beverages and quite a good time. And finally I said, you know, I need to get into bed. I need to get up and make a coffee run. So, got up on Sunday morning and go down to make my coffee run, and I couldn't roll anything. The only thing that was really saving me at all was my little come bet strategy up front, trying to test out my tosses. Met up with Nate and a couple other guys, and they couldn't, any of us on that Sunday, throw anything in our group that we were in. We went from different casinos, different tables, tried different things. It's just one of those days. We couldn't get a good hand together for anything. So I'm going to bed Sunday with my profits from the previous 2 days have been sucked away, and I'm actually down just a little bit. I get up Monday morning. It's going to be my last day in town. Go downstairs. There's one guy on this straight out, and there's 2 women down here on that straight out, and they're all flingers. I bought in when the puck was off, put me some money on the don't pass, 6 and 8, trying to do a one hit can't miss. They 0.7 out, 0.7 out, point, odd number, 7 out. I get the dice. I go back to my 5-1. Go to my 5-1-3-5 after my come out roll. Set the point at 8. I started clicking. Because it's a good table. I've thrown that table a lot. I was from stick left 1. I was very comfortable. Wasn't a whole lot of things to distract you. And then they would pass the dice. They just started passing the dice. And I was perfectly fine with that. So at the Beau Rivage, on the all tall small, they've got them set up as separate bets. Yeah, they've got the markers for the all or the small, they've got the markers for the tall, and then they've got a whole set of 11 numbers for the all. So each one is a separate bet. So if you hit one, your bet stays up there, just like if you hit a 5 or an 8. And I was going 10, 10, 10. I hit the small two times in one hand, with them leaving it up. Never could close out the tall. Never could get there. So I cashed out. I'd bought in that morning at $500. Cashed out at just a little over $2,500. So boom, I'm back in Green City. Got $2,000 off the table. So I had been getting some text messages. There was a group of guys down at Hard Rock, so I walked down there, and everybody was having pretty decent tosses. There weren't monster rolls, but we were making a little money. I picked up about $800 off that table. We got some comps for lunch, so we were sitting in the restaurant area, seating area, and I started getting antsy. I didn't want to keep sitting. After we finished, I said, "Oh, you guys keep talking. I'll be back in a few minutes. I'm gonna go look see what the table looks like." Table looked okay. Nobody I knew on it. I walked over into the high roller room. Found a slot machine I've always liked a little bit. I put $60 in it. First or second row, hit it for $385, I think it was. I hit that cash out button so quick I left my card in there and took off. So I lost my Hard Rock card. I have to get another one made next time I go. Yeah, I wanted that money. Monday was turning out to be a really good day. So after we ate lunch, met up with Heavy, a couple other guys, and we went down to Harris. And lo and behold, the table was almost empty. I got in stick left 1 or 2, 1.5 to 2. There was already somebody on stick left 1, but we just kind of circled the table. Heavy had a really fine roll from the end. We made money on that. I'm feeling sporty, and I decided to go 25, 25, 25 on that all tall small. Had not tried it much that way the whole weekend. I set $25 world bet and throw the box number. That's all right. Crapless table, especially when the dealers are just not right on top of it every day, they're not used to everything, and you got a lot of players that aren't used to playing it involved too. It slows that game down a lot. So the game was slow, but I was able to, I needed a 3, a 10, and a 12. I remember that. I was down to the 3, 10, and 12. And I was tossing that version of the 3V set right there, the 2, 3, 6, 3. And finally, I hit the, and normally this set will spit me out some 10s because it's a single pitch away right there. Finally, I got my 10. So I'm down to the 3 and the 12. So we're making some money on the Crapless. Because I've hit the 11, I've hit the 2, I'm hammering some 6 and 8s. Doing pretty well. And I hit the 12. Finally got the 12. One left die, off axis, landing, midnight. Right out of that set. Well, as you know, everybody hoops and hollers. And everybody was on it. It was on the table basically in some form or fashion. Of course, I was the only one that had $25 on each of the bonus bets. They pay everybody around. They pay me my $7.50 plus my $25 bet. And you know, as soon as everybody's got new prop action going, or new chips in the rack, somebody's made a big hit. All these all these bets just come flying in. And so it was taking a little while. It was really slowed down, and I'm standing there and I'm still really concentrating, staying pretty doggone fixed on my goal. I need a 3, but it was taking so long. And I finally looked at my dealer right before the dice come to me, and I said, turn my bets off. And I put $25 on the ace deuce. Set my dice. Somebody else over here turned their bets off when I did it, and I got my dice and I set them and I picked them up just like I always do. And then I got that infamous double pitch 3-4. That close, just that close to that $5,000 payday. But I was still happy, and I was really happy that I had taken all my bets down. Y'all don't have a stroke out there. Y'all, I know some of y'all fainted already, but get somebody to throw some water on you because I'm not finished telling the story. I actually turned my bets off, which was a good thing because all that money come back. And I had, you know how I press, so I had a lot of pressure out there. So we colored up right after that, I think, because we all had a pretty good chip rack. I'd bought in for $800, $15 Crapless table. I colored up $2,800. So I was happy. Money was just really snapping right along. Plus, we were getting close to being lunchtime, or for us, really it was dinner time. But for us, we called it lunch. So we had some more comps at the Hard Rock, and we went and ate at the Hard Rock Cafe. First time I'd ate at the Hard Rock Cafe there in Biloxi. Excellent meal. There were 6 of us at the table. We had to wait about 30 minutes. I don't know if that was from the crowd or from the staffing. It's always hard to tell. I think it was more crowd related. There was actually a trainee, so they're hiring. I mean, they're staffing up. There was a trainee working with our server. So they've been doing some hiring, which I'm glad to see. We left there and we said, we got to go find another table, finish out the night. Well, we went down to Harris. Went back to Harris. Table was packed. They had 6 on every side. 6 is all they'll fit. So we ran down to the Palace again. Thank God we didn't play there. We kind of talked around and was trying to look at, okay, what's plan B and what's plan C and what we're going to do. We ended up going to the IP. And we were expecting it to be a $25 table. And one of them was. The $25 table over next to the cage was pretty well surrounded. The table opposite it, $15 table, there was only 2 or 3 people on it. It was perfect for our group. They had 2 lefties down here. We had Nate, we had Mark, we had me, we had another guy right here, had Heavy down here at the end. He's smoking a big fat cigar, keeping people away. We had somewhat of a new guy in the turn that wasn't with us. One of our other guys showed up. He bought in at the turn, and a couple of strangers that we didn't know down there. So we filled up that table. Yours truly gets the dice. And I'll be honest with you, I have very erratic sessions on that really hard table. And it's a hard table. It's a hard surface table. Set a point. Toss looked okay. Got a point number I was expecting. I PSO'd right there. Boom. 0.7 out. And all my friends are going, well, Ed, that was a good shot. We all do it. I just hated to do it right then. You'd rather do it when ain't nobody looking, I guess. But anyway, we shoot around. We're kind of being cautious as the hands keep developing and getting a little longer. We get a little more aggressive. Gets all the way around down here. Nate Fernandez gets the dice, left-handed. He's throwing right down into this area that you'd expect. We're keeping that whole area cleaned out for him, giving his dice plenty of room to land. And I've been playing with him all week, and he would tell me what set he was going to be shooting, and I knew pretty much what to expect from his sets, which was always beneficial, right? Well, he had a nice long hand going, and all of a sudden, he hit a hard 6. Well, I'm pressing up to 6. I'm not thinking a whole lot about this being a hard way 6. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking 6. So I've got to start paying better attention. Because Heavy threw a nickel out there on it. Hard 6 for a nickel. He hit a hard 6 3 times within 5 tosses. Virtually back to back. So when Heavy got paid, the first hit, he bumped it to a quarter. Another hard 6. Really nice payday. Next thing I know, I look over there and Heavy has got 4 green chips sitting on that hard 6. I'm ready to go to 420 almost on my 6. I think I'm at 180. Pressed up pretty good. I've got 250 on the 4, 250 on the 10. He's killing the even numbers. Hard 6 was the call. $900 goes to the man on the end. He says, bring my hard way down. Smart move. So he made close to $1,200 off those hard 6s. So you got to pay attention if you think the guy's going to have it happen more than once. $5 bet turned into a $100 bet, turned into about $1,200 on the rack. By then it's getting after 11 o'clock at night, and I'm already worried about what am I going to toss next. I don't want a PSO again. What set am I going to use? How am I going to adjust my toss for this hard table. Mark gets the dice on stick right 1, another left-handed person, and he starts a run. Before he does, I go, and I was thinking, I really probably should, getting late, I ought to put 25, 25, 25 up there. But I didn't. I went with 10, 5, 10. And I started out with 66 inside. Because I know he's pretty, if he's going to be on, he's going to be on with inside numbers, typically. Next thing you know, we got $90 sixes and $90 eights. We got $200 5 and 9s, and even we were up to around $100 to $200, $250 on the 4s and 10s. He's just pounding numbers. And he's down to needing a 2 and a 12. Typical. Needs a 2 and a 12. Finally, he rolls boxcars. Boom. Boxcars. Everybody's got prop action on it. Or all of us do anyway. We're all playing the bonus. Various amounts. Nobody over $10 on the outside or the small or the tall. And I'm sitting there kicking myself for not going ahead and go with my initial instincts of $25 on each. We all get paid. He sets a 3V set, and he changed his set to a cross 6 aces next toss. So he back to back the 12 and the 2 do the all tall small. And buddy, we're going nuts. And I'm going nuts too. I'm loving it. It's a great throw. It's going on great. I'm kind of looking at my clock, and it's getting late, and one guy was going to have to get up at 4 to go get ready to catch a flight. Another guy down here had a flight at 7, and it's after midnight. In fact, it's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And I had been playing pretty heavy odds. Pretty heavy odds on the 8, 6, and 8 as points, because I'd had $180. When I had $180 up here, he'd set it as a point. I'd slide it back here. It hit the point, and then I'd go back up here. So making good money. And so 2 or 3 throws after all the excitement of the 12 and then the 2, the hand was over. We all celebrated. I got sweat dripping off me because I'm not sure I want to follow those 2 long rolls, even though I was willing to. But I looked at the guy and had the early flight. I said, "Don't you need to go to bed?" He said, "Yeah, I really do." And I was riding with him. I just reached to my rack and set them down, some colors up. Everybody else followed suit. We went to you've seen that one table where we've got them all, each of us had ours lined up. I think there was $10,000 off that hand come out. I know I had bought in for $800 on that $15 table. I cashed out $2,400, I believe it was. So that was a good cap off to the end. So one of the things I always like to do for you folks that hang around and listen to me yap for a few minutes is to give you something that you can use. So if you go to Mississippi, I want to use it on the 9 because I can reach it real quick and easy. Mississippi has automatic buys on the 9, on the 4, 5, 9, and 10. Pay you VIG on your win. VIG starts at 20, so you're on a $15 table. You got 15. 15 pays 21. Just go ahead and take it to 25. If you're at a $25 table, that's your starting point anyways, $25. Next hit, that 25 after the VIG pays 36. Swap the money. Your 2 hits in. Third hit pays 54, I believe it is. I'll tell you in a sec. There's 50, 75, 80. Yep, you get like $9 back, I think it is. So you get $9 back or so. Go straight to 80, third hit. Next hit in Mississippi, 5 or 9, it's going to pay you 116. Collect that. Don't be foolish. Just go ahead and collect it. $116. Fifth hit. If you started on a $15 table, you take 4 of these dollars and the 116 that you just won off that hit. You stack all that up with that $4, you're at 200. That right there pays $290 on the next hit. I'm seeing that done more and more often. In fact, I think by the time I left, everybody was doing my press on the 5s and 9s. Seemed like it. Not everybody was going 200, but they were getting to 80 quick. Get to 80 quick, you're collecting $100 plus on every hit. So that's something to remember if you go visit or play in Mississippi. Automatic buys on 4, 5, 9, and 10. It's going to have a different system if you're in Vegas, Atlantic City, wherever. Or if you're on an Indian casino in Mississippi, it's not going to pay this way. But those that are operated under the Mississippi Gaming Commission, they're required to have automatic buys on the 5 and 9. So if you go study that little press, get to 80 quick, 5, 6 hits in, you're collecting 300 for 10. Depending on where you started at 15 or 25. It's a good play. Got your money back quick. Working with house money, and that that 4th or 5th hit, depending on where you, like I say, on where you start, that 116 comes in. It's really nice. So that about pretty much wraps it up. I thank y'all for listening. Listening to me ramble about a weekend of craps. Again, I want to say a shout out to Robert, Bob Conrad, and to Eddie Marino, Bird Dog 301. Enjoyed meeting you guys, part of the Craps Nation, fellow YouTubers. Appreciate y'all. Enjoyed shooting with you. Look forward to meeting all of you again. Y'all go out and practice like you play, or go out and practice like you play, so you're going to play like you practice. One other thing, I almost forgot. A guy named Ace, or goes by the Ace, he came up to me at Harrah's on, I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday, because he was on the table when I had that long roll. Want to know if I was the roll to win guy. So if you see me, don't go up and shout it. I don't like to alert the folks on the other side of the table that's wearing them suit and ties, but say hi to me. Appreciate you recognizing me. So go out, practice like you play, because you're going to play just like you practice, And if you do it right, you're gonna go roll to win.